Welcome back, guys. So the Super NT from Analogue is nearly upon us. Sometime in February it's supposed to ship. Don't have an exact release date yet, but pretty soon. February's only not even a couple weeks away, so hopefully early February. That's what I'm hoping for. But we do have a lot of new information, a lot of little snippets of how things work, and we're going to be diving in deep and discussing some of that today. So I just want to do this quick video, kind of take a closer look at certain things with the Super NT and why I'm excited about it, and the user interface and certain things to do with that, and we'll take a look at how some of that works. So I've been covering a lot of Super Nintendo HD clone systems as of late. It's the hotness, in my opinion. There's a lot of people who are into emulation. I'm into emulation myself as well, but I do like playing cartridges on hardware, be it original hardware or clone hardware. So we've had offerings from Gamers Tech, Classique, Retrobit, Hyperkin, and probably some other no-name brands as well. The big ones are Retrobit and Hyperkin. Those are the big names, and they've all done some pretty awesome stuff. But they're all in the lower to mid-range, maybe not even necessarily mid-range price, lower price range. Comparable to what it would cost to buy a used Super Nintendo. For the most part, each one has their quirks, their pros and cons. I've done plenty of videos, plenty of comparisons. So if you're in the market for a clone system Super Nintendo to play cartridges on, there's an option out there for you. If you want to spend as little as possible, or you don't mind spending a couple $100, which is what the Super NT is going to cost, $189.99 plus shipping, you're going to be over $200. So let's just call it $200. The other options all range between $50 to $80 with different features and benefits to each. So there'll be links if you want to peep any of those comparisons and reviews out. I've pretty much done them all. But today we're going to be diving into the Super NT. I am so excited for this to drop. Cannot wait. It's going to be the ultimate Super Nintendo system, in my opinion. Not everybody is going to believe so, but in my opinion, for something that I can plug into my modern TV and play it in awesome HD and have a lot of features, this is going to be killer. So let's go ahead and dive in close and take a look at the user interface and discuss some of the details and little things with that. So let's get this party started. Let's do it! Okay guys, so I guess to really start the video out, we might as well talk about the boot sequence to the system. So each time you boot up the system, you will get a random sequence of pretty much the Analogue logo. And there is some sound and music to it, and it all syncs up, and we'll play it at the end. But what they did is they enlisted Square Pusher to do the sound and Phil Fish to do the animation, the artwork, the kind of 16-bit pixel artwork for the sequence. And I think it's pretty cool. Phil Fish, he was the developer, artist behind the game Fez, pretty popular game. He was kind of notorious for some, weird little controversies back in the day. But I thought it was pretty neat. Some people might not like that. They might not want to have a system that they boot up and it goes into an animation, kind of like the Hyperkin. The Hyperkin, when you boot that up, you get the Hyperkin logo, and it's kind of annoying. It's like, I just want to play my game. But the cool thing with the Super NT is you can turn that off. You can go ahead and there's a bunch of different settings, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. But that's where it's at. You get 30 different sequences that Phil Fish designed randomly each time you boot up the system. So that's kind of cool. But moving on. So next up, the system does have a system menu that you can bring up in-game with a bunch of settings, and you can play the Super Turrican game since they are built in. So first up, let's take a look at video. Video, you have a bunch of different options for different resolutions, which I think is pretty sweet. And it tells you, caution that if you change the resolution in-game, it might crash the game. So I'm not sure with that, but I'm pretty sure whatever you have it set to, you should be good. But there's a lot more to go from there. So next up is the screen size. So you can go ahead and swap the screen size around 4:3, 16:9, 16:10, and then change the different times filters. And then we also do have scalars as well, which is pretty sweet. I've never really messed with scalars, but a lot of people have in emulators and whatnot, and it's kind of cool to see that you do have these options in game, and you also can disable interpolation, which I think is pretty cool. So hey, the more options the merrier. So next up, we do have scan lines. Pretty typical stuff, but there are a lot of options with the scan line. So obviously with scan lines, you can either have them off, you can use normal scan lines, hybrid scan lines. There's also a gamma boost for the color, which is pretty sweet. And then you do have a scan line depth slider where you can, kind of change the intensity of the scan lines. A lot of people hate scan lines, a lot of people like them. I think it's almost a 50-50 split. I think it looks really good on these games, but with how the system is displaying the games, I think they look sweet without them. But I'm definitely going to be a person who plays around with it because some games might benefit from it. You never know, but it's a nice option to have. You don't have to use it. You're not forced to. I think that is pretty awesome. And then next up, we do have an advanced mode, which opens up a few more options. Some pretty cool stuff. You have width and height, cropping, and then extra features in buffer mode. So we'll touch on a little bit of that in a moment. But it's kind of cool, you open that up and you get some more features. So width and height, you can kind of change the shape to your, liking. You can position it and change things around. Some people might find that, unique and necessary. Some people might not even mess with it. If you just mess with your aspect ratio and resolution, you should be fine. And then also in the normal, settings, we do have audio, which unlocks some cool stuff. So you do have a decibel output that you can kind of lower, and then a few other options with the audio. And then also a few more options you have are the controls and hotkeys, so you can change that stuff up. And then also what we were talking about, the startup options, you can change between, booting straight to the system, to the game, or to the boot sequence. There's a few other weird little settings in there that are kind of neat. But here's the boot sequence: title to menu, title to cartridge, menu direct or cartridge direct. Pretty sweet stuff. So next up, we're going to take a look at this pretty cool option in the game. So this game in particular, this Kirby game, renders these clouds and they look like lines. And that's how the game just looks on modern TVs or emulators. Back in the day on CRT TVs, they were blended and they looked like actual clouds, not lines. So they do have an option for you. There's going to be other games that, have similar kind of graphics to them, and you're just going to see lines instead of a actual blended image. So I think this is pretty sweet that they incorporated this. But here's the option. So it's going to be the pseudo high-res blending, and I think that is pretty sweet. When you enable that, now your clouds look smooth the way they're supposed to. Another cool thing is this little animation here. So there's going to be a couple different ones. One for, Super Famicom PAL style cartridges, and then the other for the North American NTSC style cartridges. And that's just a little loading icon in the lower right corner when you have the menu up. Pretty cool stuff. Before we go, let's go ahead and take a quick look at an actual example of the boot sequence with the audio from Square Pusher. Okay guys, so what do you think? I'm pretty hyped up. I'm excited for this system. So we kind of touched on a lot of the little things with the user interface and all the stuff, that Phil Fish had helped put together, and then just a lot of the options that they're putting with this system. I think it's going to be pretty neat. We barely scratched the surface of what's going to be able to be done with this system. I wish I had more to show, but if you want to peep out a little bit more, I'll put a link in the description to Analogue's channel so you can see some of their reference videos and whatnot. There's some really cool stuff in there, so definitely give credit to them because this is their system, this is their user interface, and it's pretty flippin' sweet. Really, I can't say it enough. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. So definitely when this system drops, we are going to be doing an in-depth, really in-depth look, maybe even comparing it to some of the past systems, the clones that we have, previously looked at. Who knows if there's going to be some interest in that. I kind of look at it like, are people really going to buy those clone systems and this one? It's kind of like you're going to get one or the other, unless you're crazy like me and you just get everything to test them out and kind of, throw that out there. I kind of want you guys to see what's available, the pros and cons, let you guys make your own minds up. For the money, $189, over 200 shipped, a little over 200. Some people have said their shipping charge was higher than mine. I don't know if they've been lower, but the shipping charges, I guess it's just going to depend on where you are at. Mine put my system a little bit over $200. Not too bad, considering what you're getting here. The previous system they put out there, the NT and the NT Mini, that was an NES clone, FPGA, all that, just like this FPGA. And that system was $400, $450, $500, between $400 to $500, depending upon which model you got. Intense craziness. So this system, the various different colors they have, yeah, they're all plastic, and I'm fine with that. I don't need a metal system. I do wish I had an NT Mini, but they're just so darn expensive. But I think for the price, what you're getting, I think it's a top-notch system. Is it going to be for everybody? No, definitely not. Some people are going to be content with the lower end stuff, but this is reference quality, top-notch, system here. It's only going to output HDMI, unlike, the NT had other output options. So that's kind of a downer for some people, but for me, I don't care. I just want HDMI. So that's where it's at. Can't wait to dive into the system, do an unboxing, a full-on review, really dig into that user interface for you guys. So keep a lookout for that. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, because we are going to be blowing it out with Super NT coverage as soon as that box comes in the mail. You know what I'm saying? So smash it, hit that like button, notification, all that good stuff. Be a subscriber. If you want to support my channel, that's really appreciated as well. Just for as little as $1 a month, $1 to $5, whatever you can do, if you so choose. Patreon is an awesome place to go. We have a little community there, a lot of exclusive stuff going on. We are doing a lot of awesome giveaways as well. Every month we're doing giveaways for the patrons. This month we have a handful of stuff, some clone systems and some repro carts. I guess it kind of ties into the whole Super Nintendo theme I've been going on this month, and also a Nintendo Switch. So peep that out. Appreciate you guys. And I will catch y'all next time. Boom. Peace out. Bye-bye.